Gary, in terms of sort of, I suppose, combining attack and defence and trying to get the balance of both of those working at the same time, has that been sort of a big focus in training this week?
Yeah, it has. Yeah, big focus. It was last week as well, but it didn't really show in the Newport game. Sometimes when you do work with the lads, it doesn't always manifest itself until a little bit later on when it actually sinks in, when you've done a couple of weeks' work. As you say, I alluded to, we got our 2 goals, but we also let 2 in, and a game could have gone either way. It was 2. I don't like the games that close where you're crossing your fingers in the hope that you score and they don't, even though both teams are having chances. So we got to alleviate the opportunities that the opposition are getting at the moment. We've done all right for goals against up until Saturday, last Saturday at Newport. So I'm not going to lose faith in too many people just yet.
When you talk about sometimes the training process sinking in, I suppose it's a case of, the first thing you forget is quite often the last thing you learn, isn't it? So learning does take time.
Yeah, it does, and a lot of learning, as you know from when you was at school. You didn't go to school, did you? Anyway,
Only once.
Okay. Well, if you had gone to school, you'd have realised that it's the repetition that is learning. The repetition of your 2 times table and the repetition, all different things, and it's that eventually sinks in and becomes normal. We always describe it a bit like driving. When you first start driving, you're thinking about everything, where your foot's got to be and putting in the gears, and now when we've had a few years driving, I don't recommend this, don't do this at home, but you can have a sandwich, you can listen to the radio, you can all sorts of things while you're driving, and it just becomes natural. That's probably a better way of saying it, and that's what you hope that when you get a settled team, it's because things are becoming a little bit more natural and the results will come then.
Do you spot within that process the faster learners who can sort of, if you like, take on a little bit more?
Yeah, some do it because it's like in them. They understand the game, if you like. They're seeing the same pictures as the staff. We're trying to put over pictures to them, and some of them can pick it up straight away. And then there's others, it takes that repetition to get into it. That's the level we're at. The boys that are earning the millions of pounds a week, often, and most of them, not all of them by the way, but most of them have got that natural ability to understand the game and know where they should be, where they need to be, and where to be dangerous, where to sit outside the play for a little while so that they can be dangerous, knowing that they haven't got to get the ball off this fella, but get it off this one, and they're in space. So like bump, bump. Some people look for the ball off everybody, and all of a sudden you've got no third man work, no third man runners, and that's what good teams have.
And if you can put it all into practice this week and get the win against Notts County, you go above them in the table. Is that a carrot for you to dangle in front of the players?
Yeah, I don't think I'm not sure that's the carrot. The carrot is the 3 points. It's always, if you get the 3 points, you go above quite a few teams. So that's our aim, really. The 3 points. You can't look at individual teams right now. Notts County were one of the teams that the bookies felt was one of the favourites to do well, but. John Sheridan's a good manager, and I know he'll be working very hard with them. They got a lot of experience in their team if he decides to go with that experience. So it's not an easy game, and as I've said before, you'd have had to have worked very well to win the game, and that's what our aim is.
And obviously you've got this run now where you've got plenty of games at home. How much do you sort of try and ensure that you cash in without putting too much pressure on the players?
Well, there's always pressure on the players. They have to deal with that. There are key games that you get sort of later on in the league. Where you go, look, lads, this is a key game, and this is a little bit of a key game for me because we got 3 games before the 10 games. you're going to say to me, well, what are you going to do after 10 games? You know, so there's not a lot you can do nowadays because you can't get loans in. But at least you've assessed a quarter of the teams at that point, and you sort of know where you are once you get to Christmas and what you need in and what's in that you don't need. So I know we've got 3 important games to make sure that we're competing and we're up there and in the mix.
How much is Aaron Downs pushing for a start after his sub-appearance last week and another hour for the reserves this week?
Has he told you to say that, has he?
No, I'm saying that.
Listen, Downs' training puts that in your mind. His games puts that in your mind, and he's like an 18-year-old now, looking forward to a game, to a start. He's obviously very close, of course he is, and but he's still only played a couple of reserve games at the moment, and I might have to keep a little bit of a rein on him until I believe that I'm not putting him at any risk. He will say there's no risk whatsoever, and I'm pleased that he would say that. But at the same time, he hasn't played for 8 months, and the football league's a different kettle of fish to reserve games. So that doesn't mean to say that he's not going to be in, and it doesn't mean to say that he is going to be in because we haven't worked the team out yet. But I'll do what's right, and the good thing is he's champing at the bit to play.
Excellent news. Has Billy Waters responded in the right way after being hauled off at half-time last weekend?
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit strong a word, wasn't it? Hauled off, as if I've got the old shepherd's crook out and get off. If things are not happening for somebody, then you need to change them. And there's been many times that Billy's come off the bench where I've hauled off, if you want to use that word, or brought off another player to bring Billy on, and then he's gone and won us the game, etc. So if somebody's not quite affecting the game in that particular game, then obviously I have to change something, because otherwise you can't keep getting it round your head with a stick. On occasions you got to go and change something, and that's what I did in that particular. We all love Billy. We all want him to do well. We want him to get 20 odd goals a season. Wrighty got his goal, albeit from the penalty, although I thought Wrighty did okay in his general play, but could have had hat-trick quite comfortably. There was opportunities for him to get goals. So we'll wait and see what team I select, and then you'll know. You'll know my reasons. It's because I'm trying to play the most effective players at this moment in time.
How's Carl Storer progressing? Is it how you'd want at this stage? Obviously, you're not expecting him back yet.
No, he's it's not as quick as I would want, because he's had to have further treatment and further investigation. So no, he's not in our thoughts right now, because he's not ready to train or play. He hasn't trained with the team now for a couple of weeks. So he's sort of in our thoughts, but out of our thoughts as far as the next couple of games are concerned.
I mean, that must be a concern, because obviously you'd hope the injection would sort of settle things down a bit.
Yeah, but he actually had to go for another injection, a slightly different one, and we're hoping that is going to be stronger than the previous one. It's a different type of injection, and it takes 48 hours. It was only a couple of days ago, so before we will know exactly whether he's pain-free at the moment, and we're going to need to wait till probably tomorrow after the weekend to make sure that it's cleared up, whatever it is that he's got.
Fingers crossed on that one. Everyone else okay?
Well, Amari's still injured, of course, and Holman's not back yet, so it's pretty much the same group that we had up at Newport.
Thank you, good luck.
No
How
problem.
far is Holman off? Have you had a report back from the surgeon? And
Well, he's still in his boot at the moment, in the surgical
Yeah.
boot. So we don't know until that boot comes off, which is in a couple of days' time, and we see whether the toe has blown up or whether it's normal size. If it's normal size, he's ready to start training. If it's blown up a little bit, then obviously it'd take 2 or 3 more days to settle that down. So it's a little bit up in the air at the moment, and so hopefully we can get him back as soon as we can.
James Dayton obviously wasn't involved in the reserves Tuesday. Did that mean that he's okay to be involved for 90 minutes worth on
He's
Saturday?
definitely available for selection, yeah. With dates, you know, it's more important to keep him fit for the first team squad, and so we're just looking after him in between times and see how much we can get out of him at the moment.
Johnny Smith came on and had a real impact at Newport. It fair to say that he's sort of clouded your thoughts or giving you another option in that sort of front position?
Yeah, I don't know about clouding your thoughts. It's always nice to have for people to show that they're ready. They feel they're ready because, you know, you played with confidence, and you played with confidence again in the week against Oxford. So did Issa Suleiman. He showed what he can do. He suddenly opened his game up, which is great, which is what I'm looking for, and show his athleticism and show his bravery. And, you know, I think he spent the first month having a look at everything, you know, and I think since he's been back from England and come in, the penny looks like it's dropped for what I'm looking for from him. So he's another one that you know has put himself in the fray. So again, you know, I haven't picked the team yet, and I appreciate you boys trying to pick it for me, but we'll pick what we think's right on the day.
It's a bit of a tricky selection at the moment. Not because you've got options everywhere, but the fact that not enough maybe are putting their hands up, as you say, putting the 8s and 9s in every week.
That's the most difficult one, because you either keep the continuity and keep the same players however they're doing for a period of time to give them a chance to gel, or if you're not winning every week, you have to change, you know, or you can change it every week and then you don't get the continuity. So I tend to look at it that if somebody's been ineffective in a game, that's the word really, then I will change that if I feel they've been ineffective, because they need to step out, realise that they've been ineffective for the next time they step in. But that's off, you know, it's only 1 or 2 players as opposed to 5 or 6, and then the others you have to keep faith in and hope that they get the game going. And the easiest decisions are when you're winning. Yeah, well done lads, same team. You know what I mean? So that's what we got to get now. We've said that after, you know, before each game leading up, but you've got to get a run of wins, and that's what we've got to do.
You mentioned it being an important game. It almost, I suppose, sort of clouds what's gone before. Another win and everything looks solid again. Another draw and it's another draw, another defeat. And
Well, exactly.
But you're looking over your shoulder, maybe.
Yeah, that might happen, mightn't it? And then you'd only have 38 games to go. So don't worry about it too early, because you can pick up them points as and when you get to know who are the consistently poor ones and who are the consistently good ones. And the beauty about this season, or the ugliness about this season, is that you can't do much about it outside of your squad because of the transfer windows have changed. The good thing is we signed enough players to cover all eventualities. You know, we've had a lot of people out, haven't we, in the last few weeks, and yet we still, you know, we've just lost the 2 games out of 7, and the ones that we drew, the 4 that we drew, could have gone either way. Obviously, we won 1, so we're not a million miles away.
Have you seen John Sheridan's quotes in the week about how he could have booed his own team off after they lost at home on Saturday? Have you ever felt like doing that?
Yeah, well, he wears his heart on his sleeve, doesn't he, John? Yeah, there's many a time you want to boo your own. I think I started the booing on a couple of occasions, but for managers feel that, and do you know what? You're always at your worst as a manager just after the game when you know, I see all these interviews, and we're all the life and soul of the party when we've won, and you know, we're always looking to blame someone when we've lost. So you two beware Saturday in case we get beat.
But Notts County have won 2 out of 3 away from home and not one at home this season. That shows you what their maybe their strengths are. They're a good counter-attacking, good sort of on the break team.
Could be that. It could be that they've played better teams away, you know, at home than they have away from home. We don't know yet. We've only played 7 games, so and you can see, you know, we're not looking to see the best of Notts County at Wadden Road. You know, we'll show the lads their strengths and weaknesses, and we don't want to see their strengths. And if we can exploit the weaknesses, then obviously the strengths won't come out. We need them to worry about us, and I think that's a big thing mentally wise. I don't know why, but you know, lads always seem to bring out a little bit more at home normally. As you say, Notts County are the other way round, so we'll have to you know, see whether we can handle their whatever it is they do away from home.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you.